All right, we have some genuinely big news. The walls are closing in on Pete Hegseth after Republicans in the Senate ordered, quote, vigorous oversight into his likely illegal strikes in the Caribbean Ocean. On September 2nd, in particular, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, or Secretary of War is what they're now calling it, ordered a strike in the Caribbean Ocean on what he claims are drug vessels. Now, even if you put the due process problems aside, even if you put the illegality of the strikes aside that we've been talking about for months, there is new reporting that footage shows that the first strike left two people surviving, clinging onto the side, absolutely defenseless, and then the U.S. military struck again, which violates international law, and then reporting says this is all downstream from Pete Hegseth issuing an order saying, quote, kill them all, which violates international law for multiple reasons, mainly because you can't kill people who are defenseless, who are shipwrecked, who are laying there with no weapons, injured. This is disgusting. So we initially got reporting from Alex Horton, a military reporter from the Washington Post. He says, exclusive, Hegseth ordered everyone killed in the first alleged drug boat strike on September 2nd, prompting a second hit to finish off survivors in the water in a mission led by SEAL Team 6. Ordering no quarter could be legally perilous. Pete Hegseth issued a long, screeching response that we'll go over in just 1 second, but after Alex Horton dropped this news that now has 9 million views on Twitter, we get this Washington Post article. Hegseth order on first Caribbean boat strike. Officials say, quote-unquote, kill them all. Now, Pete Hegseth's order is by definition, if true, a war crime. If this footage exists, that is alleged to exist, then an investigation should be opened immediately, as this oversight committee is opening one. So it is unlawful to command an order to kill somebody who is surrendering. Under military law, it is an unlawful command to kill somebody who is surrendering or incapacitated or shipwrecked. So when those senators were saying, do not comply with the legal orders, they were actually right. To continue, 2 men clung to a stricken, burning ship targeted by SEAL Team 6, and then they said, leave no survivors. That means they were unarmed, incapacitated, and no longer combatants. This says news, a very big deal. Senate Armed Services Committee Chair Roger Wicker issues statement with top SASC Dem Jack Reed, vowing, quote, vigorous oversight of Hegseth's kill them all order, after Hegseth dismissed the story as fake news. This reads, U.S. Senator Roger Wicker, a Republican from Mississippi, the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, issued the following statement, quote, the committee is aware of recent news reports and the DOD's initial response regarding alleged follow-on strikes on suspected narcotics vessels in the Southcom area of responsibility. The committee has directed inquiries to the department, and we will be conducting vigorous oversight to determine the facts related to these circumstances. Congressman Eugene Vidman, a Democrat, said, Secretary of War, you will be held accountable for the illegal orders you give. This demands congressional investigation, and the unredacted video of the strike and radio recordings of the orders given need to be shared with Congress and the American people immediately. Secretary of War himself, Pete Hegseth, issues a long-winded response where he basically confirms the suspicions. He says, well, he calls it fake news, but then he all but confirms it. So he says, quote, as usual, the fake news is delivering more fabricated, inflammatory, and derogatory reporting to discredit our incredible warriors fighting to protect the homeland. Dude, nobody's trying to discredit the warriors. We're just trying to abide by some level of international law. Listen, I don't want drugs coming into the United States any more than you do, any more than Pete Hegseth does. Nobody wants that, of course. But we need due process. We need some standard as the United States, or there is no standard at all because every country will follow suit and then it will be a shit show. There will be no international standards. But to continue, by the way, if you appreciate these videos, make sure you drop a like and double check to make sure you're subscribed to the Adam Mockler feed below. That is the best way to punch back against MAGA media. But this says, as we've said from the beginning, and in every statement, these highly effective strikes are specifically intended to be lethal, kinetic strikes. So he's saying right there, they are intended to be highly lethal and kill everybody on the ship. He's admitting it. He then says, the declared intent is to stop lethal drugs, destroy narco boats, and kill the narco terrorists who are poisoning the American people. Every trafficker we kill is affiliated with a designated terrorist organization. Yeah, but you are arbitrarily affiliating them with these terrorist organizations, and this is the problem here. You are using illegal means to get to what you think is a justified end. So sure, stopping drug trafficking in the United States is a net benefit, of course. But when you use illegal means to get to those ends, then you basically abolish everything that has kept the world order standing over the past 80 years. I mean, on a really broad level, ever since World War II, we've tried to maintain a standard of international norms with NATO countries, where you can't just grab land and kill people for no reason. Now, the United States in the Middle East has broken that standard. Russia in Eastern Europe has broken that standard. So I'm not saying that it's perfect, but when Trump comes in and just strikes people unilaterally, it really does no good. Quote, the Biden administration preferred the kid gloves approach, allowing millions of people to flood our communities. The Trump admin has sealed the border and gone on offense against narco-terrorists. Remember, suspected narco-terrorists. Colombia claims that one person killed was just a fisherman. Don't know if it's true, but that is what they claim. He says, our current operations in the Caribbean are lawful under both U.S. and international law. Oh, if Pete Hegseth says so. Pete Hegseth, who 1 year ago was half drunk on Fox News every single day. I mean, be damned all of the law professors. The same Pete Hegseth that said, quote, we have only just begun to kill narco-terrorists. He said this the same hour that Donald Trump pardoned a former drug trafficking president of Honduras. Pete Hegseth says, quote, we have only just begun to kill narco-terrorists. And Ryan Sheed replies, can you explain this then, Pete Hegseth? And it says, Donald Trump pardons former Honduran President Hernandez for 2024 drug trafficking sentence. Ula points out, this is a man who murdered countless people, having at least one hacked up with a machete. He conspired to distribute 400 tons of cocaine in the United States and bragged about shoving drugs right up the noses of quote-unquote gringos. There's nothing Trump could do to lose his MAGA cultists. Hernandez surely will have a massive amount of wealth stashed in foreign lands and will no doubt invest large sums in Trump's crypto venture, as we've seen a bunch of foreign people do, like Justin Sun, a foreign-born billionaire crypto entrepreneur who invested $70 million into Donald Trump. So Pete Hegseth is using his position of power to run cover for Donald Trump's corruption and to do military strikes of his own. Many are saying, trust me, many people are saying in the legal scholar world that Pete Hegseth's strikes were illegal. A top Republican senator, Roger Wicker, has joined his Democratic counterpart in calling for vigorous oversight. Trump and his top advisors say that this is legal, but many legal experts say that line of thinking is unprecedented and say the U.S. should be relying on law enforcement, not the military, to seize shipments and arrest suspected criminals. Pete Hegseth is clearly shaken. He clearly issued this response in a really nervous furor. Harry Sisson says, so to be clear, you aren't denying the reporting, and you are confirming you killed 2 defenseless people. You are confirming it. There's nowhere in this where Pete Hegseth denies it whatsoever. We'll see what a jury thinks in your trial in 2029. Pete Hegseth needs to be investigated. Steve Witkoff needs to be doubly investigated. Donald Trump's kids need to be investigated. I wouldn't be surprised if there are pardons issued to all of these people. John Jackson says, Article 3 and 12 of the Geneva Convention violations. It is so beyond clear. Southcon's top lawyer said it was illegal, and then you overruled him. If you're so confident, declassify the OLC opinion and tell us which cartels we're in an armed conflict with. Joe says, Daddy has immunity, fuckstick. You do not. I'm going to leave it there. Pete Hegseth essentially confirming his own crimes. We'll see what the footage shows. I love you all, and peace out.